Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason, where today we're going to be taking a look at a match that was played very recently on Theta Crystals? No, pardon me, Salt Reef 1.1. Get confused by these crystals over here. There was a very popular map called Theta Crystals that also features these, but this is a map that goes by the name of Salt Reef, and it's got quite a lot of interesting features. And today, spawning as our red team leader in Cortex Red is Pro X Factor Live, hailing with 50 true skill silver chevrons and a German flag to boot. Gonna be showing us exactly what they've got on the southern side of this very, very interesting and quite dynamic map. Spawning in the midsection of the blue team, it's Niltsua, the blue commander. We'll call you hello, actually. The blue commander in Cortex as well, and 52 true skill. Yeah, we've got a pretty much premier pro level game lined up for you today. Lined up for me as well. I hope you guys realize that I appreciate these games just as much as I'm sure many of you do. I'm very stoked to see exactly what's going to happen. So, our blue team leader going to be spawning in the midsection. That means essentially contesting kind of a weird swath of area on this map. You go forward, and then you go up, and then you go left in this direction right here. So you're kind of holding on to the midsection here, trying to fight anybody that goes up onto this high ground and is shelling away at you, and then trying to deal with any run-bys that might go in this direction or in this direction. It's a really complicated pattern. So, hello, the blue commander is going to be relying heavily on Luis B to hold this line over here, and on Tsar XT4 to hold this line down on the southern side. Of course, all that mirrored on the northern side as well, but it should be interesting to see if our red commander can take very, very well advantage of all that open space that, of course, the blue team is going to have to try and control on the southern side. Should be a good game. God Hates Cowards going to be spawning as the yellow commander. Always love looking out for interesting names in the backline here, and God Hates Cowards definitely echoes the indomitable human spirit as we go for some of these Cortex spots. In the backline, we have tons of ticks being produced. My goodness, the orange commander, 1V_X8C3R, going to be sending out tick after tick after tick all the way into the backline right here, getting tons of valuable scouting information. In fact, why don't we switch to the player view? Something that several of you have requested I do more often, and I'm happy to oblige. Going to scout the blue player's base, the powder blue player's base, the seafoam green base, the green base as well, the transports being handed out, all of it and more, and we're going to get quite a few picks with a whole bunch of the ticks. Picks with ticks is definitely a new motto, I guess we could call it, as a bunch of these rascals move in. Well, I can't say rascals, as a bunch of these rapscallions move into the backlines here to cause misery, mayhem, and much disarray in the ranks of the blue commanders. We do have fighters moving forward as well. They did scout that transport. Yeah, they're looking for it. Ooh, they want that transport desperately. Oh, okay. Transport almost taken out right there by the fighter. Oh, all right. Well, we reclaimed the fighter. That's quite cheeky. Yeah, we're looking for that transport desperately. We want to make sure that we can manage to shoot that down if we possibly can, but you can see the red team with fabulous scouting so far. Really tremendously done. No aggression on the other side of the map right here from the blue team. So for the time being, the advantage certainly in the hands right now of our red heroes. We do have loads of grunts going across right now, though. There is a resbot eating up tons of these crystals. The resbot's very valuable for that on especially, well, any map that has any crystals like this. They're basically all jam-packed full of energies. They're basically battery crystals, for anybody who didn't know. Oh, transport moving the constructor up forward. Ah, cheeky. All right, so our blue commander has made the decision to just go ahead and drop some constructors up here. Try and lock down this area, and that's going to make holding this front line quite a bit easier. Of course, building agitators or any sort of defense up on this high ground to fire into the red commanders is going to be super valuable in any of these directions. So that's a really, really nice move. Very risky, of course, because you do have to put something in that transport and fly it up there past all these fighters and whatnot. But yeah, should be very nice for holding on to all this. Apparently, orange commander complaining into the chat already. When you're 4 minutes into the game and complaining about the game already, it's always a little bit cringe. We have no production facilities back here for the orange commander. That's the other thing, is whenever I see somebody complaining in chat, I always like to take a little look at them and see exactly what they're up to. So right now it looks like the orange commander has 0 production, overflowing metal and energy to the team. Constructors are all wandering forward right here in a nice line. The orange commander just reclaiming some metal and marching forward, wondering what exactly this strategy is going to be. Pro X Factor Live trying to set up a forward bot lab here. Yeah, we scout the commander moving forward, so we are going to step forward with the red commander here to try and block any D-gun attempts. Mutually assured destruction. You laser me, I laser you, is exactly what X Factor is saying to Tsar, trying to push back that powder green commander. Of course, we have the aggravators here to try and reaffirm that message, firing their high-density rocket projectiles. Classic here, setting up a nice little defensive setup. We got a Dragon's Claw, which is always nice. Definitely very difficult for crowded spam units like grunts and pawns to push into here. Gonna be interesting to see how we push forward with the vehicles. Of course, the vehicles essentially trying to hit that snowbally force, but until they get to that number, they can be very easily toppled, especially one by one. If Micro isn't exactly perfectly on top, losing a tank here, losing a missile truck there, losing a Janus over there, it all starts to add up very quickly. E-Store being set up right here for X Factor Life, realizing that there's a lot of energy in those rocks, and so it's important to try and claim as much of that as possible. What are we going for right here for the Orange Commander? We're setting up beamer turrets, we're setting up LLTs, we've got some sort of play I've never seen before, but I'm curious certainly to see how well it's gonna go. I'm surprised to see us go for beamer turrets. I feel like with all the constructors on the front, it makes a lot more sense to go for instance, heavy laser towers, which of course outrange the Rocketeers as well. We're going to dance with the commander to set a screen for them. The beamers also outrange the aggravators, but just barely. So with proper micro, proper control, you can very efficiently take down beamer turrets. Not 100% efficiently, but very efficiently. Yeah, we have hit critical aggravator numbers, though. This is uh-oh indeed as we watch these aggravators push forward right here. Every Janus connection does hurt quite a lot. There we go. Leaving behind no wreck to reclaim. How do you beat rockets? Well, there's two options. 4 blitzes beats these rockets. That's one option. Or a couple of Januses with a proper connection here and there can definitely be valuable. A little bit of a pause right there. Man, Blue Commander has done a fabulous job of contesting this area over here. We've got the constructor up here. I'd love to see this just get to work on a heavy laser tower just to shut all this down. But of course, there's also lots of micro over here on this side. So understandably APM deficient on the multiple fronts that our blue leader here, hello, Nitsua, is fighting on. Trying to get the economy up and running, trying to put the lab up and running, trying to do everything all at once. Meanwhile, my goodness, what a crazy rush right here. The yellow commander going for a Tsar rush. Interesting. I saw some metal dumps in the chat. It looks like apparently our plan was to go ahead and be very aggressive, eat up as much metal as we could, and then send it all into a Tsar production. Now it's out on the field. Will it be able to get very much value is the question. Metal from X Factor being eaten up here. Commander and Seafoam Green did go down. Eventually those aggravators traded out efficiently enough to blast that commander to pieces, and this is the kind of metal gains that you're hoping for. You can see more and more of that metal going back to the T2 commander, trying to pump out more of those T2 units. Always efficient. It's one of those things that in a theoretically perfect game, right? Like if you are playing Beyond All Reason as if it were a spreadsheet, technically speaking, the most efficient thing to do is as soon as somebody has a T2 lab up and running, all production of T1 stops on the front lines, and you just pay them for T2 units and just go ahead and have them produce T2 units while you upgrade your economy to eventually get to T2. Technically speaking, that's the most efficient pathway, but of course it's not always feasible, and there's APM limitations to one person producing a whole 8v8 team's worth of units, right? So there's some nuance to it, but certainly this is a variation of that where we see, oh, a lot of friendly fire right there, by the way, where we see essentially all the metal being funneled into T2 tech and pushed out onto the field here. Lovely stuff on the southern side. Definitely way more power, way more firepower than the blue team bargained for. And essentially the only thing that shuts this down is a really, really well-placed D-gun. We're done right out the Lavender Commander. Yeah, if we can't manage to D-gun down this Tsar, I definitely agree. We need a radar jammer is the only efficient way to do that. Oh, Commander snipe over here on the left-hand side. That was the purple Commander going down. Okay, not bad. Could be a huge opportunity over there. Shuriken to paralyze some of the medium tanks. The Tsar retreating backwards here. Yeah, Shea was trying. But down goes the Lavender Commander. Beautifully done. Radar tower, or radar vehicles rather, do fall. Means that there's no more radar detection, but Yellow Commander is right on top of it. And, oh, nice snipe right there with the Tsar as well. 12 kills, 2 of which are commanders. And with the radar tower up and running, it's going to be very difficult to sneak a commander in to try and kill all this. Now just reclaiming a bunch of this metal, and all that production can be pumped into a bunch of Salamanders. Very nice. Salamander is extremely cheap, both metal and energy, for their efficiency, especially against T1, but even against T2. Yep, Commander is spotted right here. Let's switch to yellow commander's vision. There we go. Yep, we can see that commander is marching forward right now. Every second we get a view of it, or glimpse of it, Tsar is firing away. Yeah, as long as the Tsar is micro decently, those commanders have no shot of jumping on top of it. Shurikens were pulled to try and paralyze it, but it was retreated before the Shuriken got there, and there wasn't even enough of them. This is looking fabulous. This is essentially a perfectly executed Tsar rush on this beautiful, beautiful map, Salt Reef 1.1. Does it go to show how little I watch these replays, that I continuously forget the name of the maps? Does it show you that I'm a little bit out of practice right now? I love it. I love getting to watch a good game of Beyond All Reason. Watching the pros play is a completely different thing. When you see the strategies that they're able to come up with, the efficiency with which they can put resources around the map, it really does change your perspective for what is and isn't possible in this game. Having T2 tanks out well before the 10-minute mark. I mean, for a good long while now. That was probably a 8-minute Tsar rush, something like that. Ironically, the exact same strat on the northern side. Tsar rush on the northern side is also hitting. It's a little bit slower than the Tsar on the southern side, so it's not going to hit quite as hard, but it is still doing tremendous work. We've got the Salamander follow-up, and this is just too funny. We've got exactly the same play from two different teams, both racing each other right here. What a perfect yin-yang match right now. You can watch on the minimap right here as the yellow units are pushing up into the base of the purple commander. You can see them tearing apart wind turbines, E-converters, laser turrets, whatever they can. While meanwhile, green units are doing exactly the same thing. Wind turbines are starting to fall, clumped way too close together, and they'll chain react like a beautiful fuse. And just like that, the northern side has fallen. Now, production for the green commander has been stunted. We have just a couple of solar panels remaining. Metal extractors have long fallen. Bases on the southern side in a whole lot of trouble too. It's just a bunch of grunts moving forward, but just a bunch of grunts can definitely do quite a lot of value. Ooh, hopefully you didn't hear that mic bump right there. Still recording in a different room, so let me know again if there's any audio issues, or if you have some suggestions. Feel free to leave them down in the comment section. I read just about every comment. Sometimes don't have time to answer every comment, but I definitely read all of them. Salamanders blasting away whenever they can, trying to make sure that they have an opportunity to get on top of some of the really valuable stuff. Looking for fusion reactors, looking for advanced solar panels, looking for any of that super juicy economy. And you can tell that they've certainly done their good work. What a crazy back and forth right now. Energy production forced to bend to D1 solar panels right now. We've got enemy salamanders in the backline. We've got finally the Tsar is paralyzed and punished. The tick circle going to eventually blast it down. Finally destroying the devastator of the blue team, removing it from the match. Wow, there's no way. It's just a slug off. I punch you in the face, you punch me in the face, see who goes down first. And I think the blue team might have been able to do enough damage. Certainly staying in the game right here. Although the reclaim is tremendous for the red team, it is basically exactly even as far as the production goes. That is slowly crumbling here. Yeah, the only thing keeping the red team alive right now is all the reclaim. As soon as these salamanders continue pushing forward, I think we're in a wonderful spot right here for the blue players. Southern side still trying to hold on quite nicely. Shuriken firing away at whatever they can. We've got the res bots, again, eating up all this metal. This is where the difference in the match is being made. Pro X Factor sending out these res bots to clean up all the mess that the Tsar and the salamanders left behind. Meanwhile, production for the yellow commander has been spotted, and it will be blasted apart here. At the very least, it should. There we go. Salamander tanks will eventually jump on top of this. Salamanders, not the most tremendous DPS, not the highest health, but they do come at a very low cost. It makes them super, super efficient. We have a forward production center set up here by X Factor Live, trying to set out a whole bunch of these riot tanks. An interesting but fairly efficient solution right here to the Salamander issue. Goaf building a bunch of bombers in the backline, hoping to equalize the odds, or, well, maybe de-equalize the odds right here for the red team by sending some of those bombers across. We do have quite a few fighters in the air, though. Yeah, the green commander was on top of it with the production, so we do have quite a few fighters, as well as a whole swarm of shurikens to paralyze anything else that might need to be. The orange commander Going for such a cheeky strategy here. So many static defense units. You know what? I can't even fault it. Like, it has worked out, but it was definitely a strange one. Moving all the constructors forward, just leaving the back facilities to their own devices. Definitely strange. Definitely very, very strange. Now, I will say the red team seems to have done a much better job of cleaning up the map. If we just switch to our metal view here, you can see, yeah, just a couple hundred metal there. Not very much reclaim over here either. A little bit in the middle of the map. Yeah, not a lot of reclaim over here. Whereas for the red team, there's tons and tons of metal still lying on the field right now. And if we manage to reclaim all that, which it looks like, of course, these red spots will be able to do, the red team does have the opportunity to try and claw themselves back into this here. I say that as we watch Salamanders jumping into the wind turbine fields right here of the Maroon Commander Rise Heaven. Definitely an uncomfortable spot to be, watching those heat ray tanks firing away at all your precious, precious energy production. Medium tanks trying their best to shut these down, but those Salamanders have so much HP. Oh no, pardon me. Salamanders and medium tanks working together, actually, to blast down this base, holding hands, and marching swiftly into the bases here of the red team in order to demolish them rapidly. Salamanders are so good. They really are. Oh, there's a bomber coming across the map. Looks like we, okay, we did go for a bombing run over here. Caught the very tail end of it, but essentially unsuccessful. Yeah, anti-air spammed up by R Baron, anti-air Baron. And we have the green fighters pulled as well, doing a great job of mitigating the damage from those bombers. But now with Salamanders in the backline, this is definitely becoming an issue. Oh, Tsar tank walking into the twin guard wall. My goodness. Tsars have a critical flaw that their turret doesn't turn as fast as they can. Makes a bit of a strange interaction where if you turn at just the right speed and you are moving your Tsar around, it actually will become very ineffective. Doesn't matter though, this is so much damage over here. The Tan Commander, the air player for the red team, knocked out of the match right now. Yeah, pawns jumping onto the base right here. Salamanders have ravaged it as well. If these Salamanders move south, nothing the Hot Pink Commander is going to be able to do. The Tsar also firing away at a lot of the static defense, occupying the build power, distracting it from producing units, which essentially aren't coming out of this lab anyway. Brown Commander still trying to rebuild. This T2 lab was resurrected over here. That's quite nice. Again, one of the perks of reclaiming is that your enemy can't resurrect their labs. Is there enough for the red team? I mean, economically speaking, the metal production is effectively the same, but it is sufficient to say that the energy production is a little lackluster right now. Couldn't be remedied by 2 or 3 fusion reactors. If we just got those up and running using the metal from all the reclaim over here, it would certainly be possible to throw that back into the advantage right now of the red team, but at least for the time being, the blue team does have superior energy production. So it's only a matter of putting those units actually out on the field. Hot Pink Commander fought hard, but eventually was demolished by the Tsars, the Salamanders, the Pawns, all the force that the blue team could bring to bear. And now suddenly we find ourselves in a very strange north versus south kind of a game. Only repair turrets available up here, so it's not like the Tank Commander can really rebuild from any of this. We're gonna reclaim any of this that we can. That's quite funny. Trying to just deconstruct this base and send the metal to somebody who can actually spend it, i.e. the red commander here. We have a T2 vehicle lab as well as a T2 bot lab right here. Interesting choice. Wonder why. Feels like there's a lot of open pathways over here, but this side has been harassed so consistently that effectively everybody on the southern side here is prepared to defend. Something well worth considering, of course, similar to the way that, for instance, when you go for a whole bunch of bombing runs, the anti-air on the other side of the map is always going to be a little bit thicker than if you had just held the bombers off earlier on. Bit of a strange thing to try and balance that, because early bombing runs can do quite a bit more damage, but if there's more to kill, more valuable stuff to kill later on in the game, certainly taking it down can be more valuable in the greater scheme of things. Always trade-offs, left, right, and center. Shuriken here jump on top of this T1 army. Tsar firing away at a bunch of these clumped up units here for the red commander. We do have tons and tons of ticks tearing apart the economy of the back of the red commander as well. And I think the blue team has done it. I think they really have. Yeah, with this army going down, this is a very expensive T1 army to lose for effectively free right now. Fighters are pulled to try and clean up a lot of these Shuriken, and for what it's worth, they do. X-Factor Live, fighting a little air battle right here with, or a little water battle with Nitsua, the blue commander. Having a duel of the peaks trying to fight the top of the top against the top of the top. Salamander's going up against the lightning pop-up turret here. Pop-up turret's quite sturdy, actually. You put a little bit of build power behind them, and they can stay alive for a surprising amount of time, even under fire from T2 units. Doubly so if you put them in their protected state, in their buried state. It can be very, very efficient as a distraction, essentially, letting units fire away at them, but never actually achieving all too much damage. Even things like arbiters and sharpshooters have a hard time blasting through those if you slap a little build power behind them and you have them closed up. Salamander is kind of idling over here on the southern side, and it does feel like if we just send the units forward, we have this in the bag right now for the blue team. So close to victory, but unaware of exactly the appropriate path to try and secure it through. This side has fallen to a couple of Rocketeers. Lovely stuff right here from Tsar XT4. Trying to keep it all online and moving, making sure those Rocketeers are fighting efficiently. Easier said than done. $90K medal, the Brown Commander, trying to hold out. Holding on to whatever is available. But the Tsars are continuing to push forward. Yikes. Once the Tsar gets into the battle here, it's going to be well cooked for the red team. You have the Centurions moving around, the Welders as well. Centurion Welder is effectively as powerful an anti-spam force as you could ask for out of an Armada composition. Until you get to T3 anyway. And just like that, the Red Commander decides to hand over control. At this point, the Tan Commander takes over the reins. And we slowly but surely watch the red team abandon all hope. There it is. The blue team wins this game beyond all reason with overwhelming pressure and a mirrored counterattack. Yeah, utilizing the same strategy later than the red team, but managing to do more damage with it. Raiko earning the golden cow and the blue team claiming victory in this game beyond all reason. The power of the Tsar may be overwhelming, but the Salamander really feels like the key to this entire success here. And I sure hope you have thoroughly enjoyed. I will see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason. Of course, feel free to subscribe and like or dislike, whichever one you so choose. I mentioned it in another video, but yeah, the like and dislike experiment proved a success. Apparently, it doesn't matter which one you hit, so feel free to take your pick. And I will see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason. Peace out, everybody.